Now Media Television.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Real Estate Insights, your weekly rendezvous in the world of bricks and sticks. I'm your host, Andrew Glisson, and we're gearing up for another episode that will enlighten, hopefully inspire, but definitely transform the way that you think about real estate. Last week, we introduced some real estate entrepreneurs and experts from various domains who shared their invaluable insights. Today, we're diving deeper into the world of investing in property with a focus on finance in that piece of the journey. As I said last week, we're not just a TV show. We're a community of learners and enthusiasts. Your questions and comments, I promise you, drive the feedback and what we talk about on the show. So please keep all those questions and all that feedback coming. Together, we're shaping the future of real estate. When we come back from the break, I'm going to introduce to you a real estate entrepreneur in Las Vegas who runs the biggest portfolio of luxury Airbnbs in the city. He also knows every UFC fighter because they all stay at his properties. You're not going to want to miss it. See you in a minute.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fish. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
Afternoon, everybody. I've got Jason Griggs as a guest on the show today. I'm super excited, Jason, that you're here with me today. Jason's in Las Vegas. And let me just tell you about Jason before we kind of get into this interview. So Jason moved from New York to Las Vegas at 21 years old, knew one person. And he has grown into, leading as a team leader of his own real estate team. He's done $20+ million in career sales. He is the biggest short-term rental investor in Las Vegas. He's got some of the most luxurious Airbnb homes that I have ever seen. He's a top 20 realtor on Instagram, top 40 agents under 40. Jason, welcome to the show, man. I'm thrilled that you're here.
Andrew, this is awesome, man. This is cool. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Look, I don't know a lot of people that intentionally move to Las Vegas, especially from New York. What was the deal? Why did you do that?
Well, I like to have fun, man. And there's no better town and city to have fun in than Las Vegas. So I kept coming to visit my buddy. And one day I just decided I was going to stay. And I was a teacher at the time. I was going to look for a teaching job. And I ended up teaching for a little bit. But it's the best town in the world to live in my opinion.
That's awesome. What is your teaching career? What were you teaching?
I was a PE teacher, man. I was a gym teacher. That's
nice.
big
What was there a culture shock at all?
Here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm going to get into lacrosse in a few minutes, but moving to Vegas, was there a culture shock? Was it slower? I mean, it seems like the lifestyle is like, it's always going all the time, but it's not as busy as New York from a business perspective, anyway.
It was a big culture shock in a lot of different ways, but I adjusted to it. Things, you're right, do move a lot slower out here. The people, there's no hustle and bustle like the New York Minute, they call it. The weather is way better here, in my opinion. There's no snow or rain. We don't get any of that. But yeah, there was a culture shock, and I had to adjust to it. But like anything, you adjust and you make the best of it, and that's what I did.
Yeah. So how real estate? So from teaching to real estate, what brought you into that career?
So I got involved with a lacrosse team out here in Henderson, and through the lacrosse team, that was my network. I didn't really know too many people out here, and they kind of adopted me into their little family, and I was coaching all these teams. And one day I met a parent, and he was like, I run a real estate brokerage, a Remax brokerage. And I was like, I want to buy a house here. I want to learn how to do it. What do you think you could teach me? And he was like, I think you'd be great at it. And that's my mentor, Tim Cups, became my first mentor, and he gave me a chance. I got my license, and I was off and running.
So you started as I guess an affiliate broker. You were selling houses, buyer's agent, listing homes, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. I was a real estate agent, and then people back home in New York were like, well, what are you doing buying real estate out there? Because it was so cheap. I want to buy real estate out there too. And so a lot of my first clients were just investors from back home, because New York is so expensive. And at the time in 2015, 16, this market didn't even take off yet. And it's very different now, but it was still at the very bottom.
So how did you pivot then? A lot of people never make that pivot from real estate agent to investor. And I'm telling you, we have a big audience that watches this show that they're in real estate. A lot of people that watch our show, they know real estate, they're in real estate, and they want to pivot. They either want to quit their W-2, be a real estate investor, they're an affiliate broker like you were, and they want to be a real estate investor. How did you do it?
Well, that was the best thing I ever did, but I really had to push my cousin Joe. Joe's from New York, and he was a big real estate savvy investor his whole life. And he was really the first person who said, look, the real estate is really cheap out there. There's cheap taxes. And then as time went on, we realized that there was a big rental demand here. And so we just started buying as many properties as we possibly could. And we just realized that there were thousands and hundreds of thousands of people moving to Las Vegas and Henderson every single year. And we were able to take advantage of that by having a nice product, a good rental product, and we were just buying properties in the best area that we could buy in.
So these were long-term rentals initially before you started doing short-term rentals. These were long-term.
I had no clue about short-term rentals years in, but yeah, we just started buying long-term rentals, and the demand was there, still is now, and we just hit a pot of gold. So many people wanted to move here. And we just started buying as much real estate as we possibly could.
Yeah. So then, I teed it up, the biggest luxury operator of Airbnbs in Vegas. How did we get there?
So I was getting so many visitors because Vegas exploded. The hockey team came, the football team came, and everyone was asking me, do you have a place for a weekend? Do you have a place for a month? Do you have a place for a few weeks? And I was like, you know what? We should start buying these short-term rentals. We should buy these homes and start housing some of these requests. And as I started doing them, I just kept going bigger and bigger because people were like, do you have a bigger house? Do you have something that could house 10 people? And then I got up to 20 people. And then I built the biggest one, and the 9,000 square foot mansion. And then
amazing.
You have Dana White calling you, and he's like, hey, can we put our TV show in your house? And we just were like, we went all in on it. We just felt like we had a cool market to really expand and kind of create mini hotels. That's the best analogy I could use. So we buy these homes, and they're mini hotels, and we just rent them and create a really luxury experience for the people who are coming to visit.
So that was my next question that you mentioned, Dana White, Colin. This business has clearly opened up a world of opportunities for you, especially on the UFC side. I mean, I follow you on Instagram, and you're at every single big fight. You're always having dinner with these guys. When did that start? And are you still doing that? Well, you clearly are, because I follow you on Instagram. So just tell us about the UFC connection.
It started because my friends fight in the UFC. I'm not tough enough to do it, so my friends do it. But my friend Ali Quinta was really the first one. He fought, and he got into real estate too the same time I did. And he introduced me to all these people. He was like, look, Jason's in Vegas. He could help other fighters. And the word kind of got out about the house. But it's funny, when I bought that house, we call it San Gabriel, I was like, this would be the coolest Ultimate Fighter house. It really would be. And it's amazing how life works. A few months later, I got the call, and they were like, hey, we want to film our shows in your place. And it was just a home run. It was an amazing experience.
Real quick, before I keep asking you questions, what's your Instagram handle? Because people have got to go follow you to see this house. It is truly incredible.
So my Instagram is at the letter J, Griggs Real Estate.
Yeah.
So J, my last name, and then real estate. And then you could follow the actual property. It's at San Gabriel Mansion.
Okay, you guys have got to go check this out. Jason,
if you're coming to Vegas, this is the house. I'm telling you, you got to come and stay.
I can't afford it, Jason. I can't do it. I could stay maybe in like the building where the pool equipment is, but maybe not even that. What do you offer in a luxury Airbnb? I mean, look, I run Airbnbs, but they are, a fraction of everything that you're describing right now. What amenities are you giving people? What is that luxurious experience that sets it apart?
It's a great question. So because it's a little further out from the Strip, and there's not too many big luxury ones you would think that there's a million, but there's really not. And so we wanted to create our own compound where families could come, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, whatever, can come to our home and just stay there for the week. They would not have to leave. They could have the pool, they could have the hot tub, the sauna. We have a gym inside. It has literally everything that you need. We could deliver food. We could bring trainers, yoga instructors, any type of just amenity we have in this house. And we really went all in on it, and it really paid off.
That's amazing. Are all of your Airbnbs like that, or is this just the top of the crop and the best one you have?
Yeah, they are actually, because I really saw a void with people are lazy, and they just put lipstick on a pig, and they throw it out there, and they're like, oh, they don't care if like the bed sheets are nice or the beds are comfortable. We really take pride. I call our little hub GriggsVacationRentals.com. And we have a standard of we want to have the best rental properties, long-term or short-term. So if you're coming to Henderson or Las Vegas, call me, and I have plenty of houses, properties that could fit whatever you need.
Love it. Is it seasonal at all, or do you stay full of this all the time?
It is a little bit seasonal, but like what happened recently is like the winter is slow. It's slow like that a lot of places other than the Vales and the snowbird towns. But what happened now in the winter is that we have hockey and we have football. And we crush on that because a lot of people coming for the hockey and the Raider games. Yeah. And then we have F1 coming, and all the conventions are coming. And it's just not, this city is just nonstop.
Sky's the limit. Look, my producer just literally held up his finger and said I have 1 minute left. I don't know where the time goes on these shows because it literally just ends so fast. I've got two more things I want to talk to you about. That's the bad news. I can't get to them. The good news is you got to come back because we got to keep talking about other things. You're doing creative financing. You've got an educational platform where you teach others how to do Airbnb. So you're going to have to come back on the show. I got to cut it off right there. Jason, this has been awesome. Thank you for joining me today, man.
Andrew, you're the best, man. Best of luck with everything. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks. See ya. We'll be back.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Todos quieren boletos de avión baratos, pero ¿dónde los encuentras? Llamando a Vuelos y Más. Sus precios vienen directamente de las aerolíneas y son tan bajos que no los vas a encontrar publicados en ningún otro sitio. Nos especializamos en garantizarles los boletos de avión más baratos, con descuentos en habitaciones de hotel, alquiler de carros y grandes ofertas en paquetes para cualquier lugar del mundo. No importa su destino, podemos ayudarle.
Gracias, Vuelos y Más.
¿Qué espera? Llame ya.
Hi everyone, I'm Clara Capano and I am so excited to announce that my new TV show, Be Productive, is airing now on Now Media. You can catch it online as well as in several local stations in your immediate market. So go to nowmedia.com and catch all the strategies, all the tips you need from industry leaders on Be Productive.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Hey everybody, back on the show this week, we have again Santi Mejia. He was on last week. We introduced him to you guys, mortgage broker from Community Mortgage. And I want to dive right in, Santi. This week, welcome back to the show. I wanted to ask you a few questions this week. You know, the big topics that are in the market are interest rates, you know, inventory's going up, but home prices are also going up. It's gotten really hard to buy houses. What are some considerations right now that people need to make, you know, when they're buying houses, with interest rates being the way that they are there any ways to mitigate some of that increased cost? I mean, they're paying double what they were last year. What can people do right now in the mortgage business?
Yeah. It depends. The first question about interest rate, it depends. What's your plan B? I always tell them, what's your plan B? If you are currently renting, any time is good to buy a house. It doesn't matter when you buy it. Always is a good time. Why? Because right now your interest rate when you're renting is 100%. Oh, but like I'm gonna wait 1 year, 2 years to the interest rates to go down. The problem is that whenever the interest rates go down, competition is gonna be brutal, and the $300,000 house that you were going to buy now is $350,000, and you have 12, 20 people trying to buy the same house. So there's a lot of people talking about this specific theme. About like, hey, let's buy now and let's refinance later. That will be the smartest decision. And the other segment that we have is the people that already have a house, that they're holding on their house because they probably have a really good interest rate and they don't want to move to the next house or the bigger house. And to that people, usually what I tell them is like, well, you see your house, how good investment it was. Like your house, probably you already have over $100,000 in equity. So you realize that this is a really good investment. So why don't do it again? I mean, we can repeat it. You already know that it's not based on the interest rate. This is based on the appreciation that you're getting in the house, no matter what. And you know, eventually, something that I tell them a lot is like, and eventually you can even use the house that you have as a rental and create an extra source of income. I mean, anyone can do it. That's about the interest rate. The other topic that you said about the inventory, yes, inventory is really low, and a lot of people are talking about prices going down. And you and I, we haven't seen that. We have seen that the market is stable, it's not going up, it's not going down. Why? Because there are no houses. I mean, if we don't have inventory, we're still seeing in some zip codes like many offers and people fighting for houses, people doing no inspections and things like that in this market. I mean, we're still seeing those kind of things. Why? Because there's no inventory. So if we're waiting for the rates to go down, we're waiting for more houses to be available, we're going to be sitting a long time.
Let me ask you this, Santi. From somebody who, I mean, buys a lot of houses, is an investor, you know, I've been through the mortgage process a number of times. it takes a fair amount of time to go through that process. You have to sign a lot of documents. You have to get an appraisal. When you jump into a mortgage process, you're committed most of the time to that person that you're in that process with, right? So you don't have a lot of time to like date around mortgage brokers or bankers to talk to a lot of different people. So what are some of the things that people need to be looking for when they're talking to their mortgage broker or they're interviewing somebody that they want to work with? How can somebody pick the right person to start with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will start with a track record. You need to know how many years this person has been doing, how many loans this person closed a year. Is this full-time? Is this part-time? That affects a lot. Why? Because a lot of people, they just want to do a transaction with you. And there are other people that want you to grow. Okay. So for example, I have a client that have bought 5 houses in the last 4 years with me. And a lot of people will think like, well, he's selling her the business. And that's not true. Like what I'm doing is I'm trying to help them financially because I know that they don't have a 401k. They don't have a retirement account. They don't have a pension. So what I'm teaching them or sharing with them is like the opportunity to grow a portfolio so they can live by the rent. So something that they need to look is experience. That's a good thing. Someone who is willing to talk to you. There's a lot of teams, people that they're going to send you to another person, like a junior loan officer. Probably you're never going to talk with the senior. And you don't want that. You want to talk with a person who understands the file. Also, you need to find someone who touches the files. There's a lot of people that receive the loan and they send to their team and forget about it. In our case, what we do is we like to know, if you call me anytime about any of my clients, I know what's going on in present because we touch all our files. So we know the situation because we don't care about the loan amount. I will tell you, every time that I talk with someone, everyone talks about addresses or loan amounts. Me, I talk about name and last name because I care about the person. Mm-hmm. So you need to find the same thing. And also, the most important thing, I think, is looking for a local bank. Why? Yeah. And this is important. Sometimes local banks can offer you local products. Let's say down payment assistance. When you go down payment assistance in my state, you have to look for a local bank because if I go and look for a bank in California, they have no idea what local down payment assistance we have in the city or in the county or in the state. Also, local banks, because they're smaller, their overhead is smaller, so their prices are smaller. And also, the local banks are more flexible. They will think outside of the box. They will be able to have the relationship. For example, appraisers. So many times we have a panel of appraisers. And if you have an issue with an appraiser, we can tackle that. When you talk with a major bank, like a national bank, they don't have that leverage, let's say, in the process.
That makes you're speaking my language about involving yourself in the lending process. I found that when we are doing loans and refinancing portfolios and things like that, when we involve ourselves and meet everybody in the process, we get buy-in and we're able to not influence the process, but make yourself likable. So that way your banker, is going to pick up the phone when you call and things like that. Local regional banks right there with your mortgage lenders. You talked a little bit and hinted on incentives for loan programs. So tell me about some of those. That could be an important thing when somebody's trying to buy a house right now with the interest rate as high as it is. What are some creative outside of the box thinking that the mortgage community is coming up with that people may not know about that they can participate in when they're buying a home or an investment property?
Yeah, when the market goes down, banks start getting more creative and new loans start coming up and popping, like programs and down payment assistance and things like that. For example, 3 years ago when we were in COVID, man, I mean, we were not hearing things like DSCR or like P&Ls or bank statements or nothing like that. Right now, there are more products. Why? Because the market is slower. And that's the reason why a lot of people are trying to buy houses right now. They couldn't buy before because there are more options right now. About down payment assistance, every city and every county and every state is going to have their own down payment assistance. Most of the states, I work with like in 7 or 8 different states. Most of the states usually give between 3% to 6% down payment, or $10,000 to $25,000. And that's why you need to go to the local lender. Why? Because the local lender is going to know what is going on in that specific state. So are there help available? Yes. Most of these down payment assistance, most of the states are just for citizens and also permanent residents. There are other programs that every bank has individually that are called CRAs, that they come and go. There's not a constant thing, so you just need to knock doors and find what is going on. The issue of the CRAs is sometimes isn't just in specific zip codes, and it's like a bucket. Until the bucket is full, then they stop offering this to the public. But opportunities, yes, there are many opportunities to buy. But in my opinion, the best opportunity is always to kind of like save your own money. Why? Because most of these programs, you have to repay this money back eventually, or you have to live 9 years, or they have certain guidelines.
There's a hook in there somehow.
Some people don't want to do it.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's important to know the hooks because you can't get out of it as fast. So in terms of, your grandparents, my grandparents, they would not consider anything but a 15-year mortgage, a 30-year mortgage. But there's a lot of new products that are out there, interest only. You can do, 5-year interest only loan, 10-year interest only loan. Are home buyers receptive to those loan products to get the payment down a little bit until, interest rates potentially go down in the future and they can refinance into a better mortgage? Are you seeing that? Are you talking about that to people who are buying homes that they want to move into?
Yeah. There are like the two segments, right? Like the people who are going to live in the house, the home buyers. The home buyers, usually what is going on right now is they buy downs. So the seller gives you some money, you reduce your interest rate for the first 1, 2, 3 year, and that helps you in the meantime. That's usually what we see with home buyers. Now the interest only loans or DSCRs, all of that, is more explored by investors. For example, we offer one investor interest only 40 years. That is for investors only. So most of those programs are meant for investors, but also I have seen interest only for home buyers. Now, this is the issue is that one thing is the investor and another thing is the home buyer. The investor is trying to maximize the cash flow, so it makes sense to go interest only. But a home buyer, me personally, I don't recommend to go that route. Why? Because they want to build some equity. They want to build some wealth for their future. And paying a mortgage, that's how usually they do. That's my personal advice, but like everyone can defer to that.
So I've got a couple of minutes left, but I wanted to touch on, you mentioned, buying a rate down to make a house more attractive. What does that cost? How many points can you buy that down? What does that equate to in real dollars? Use a $100,000 house.
Yeah, so there are two options. The first option is the buy down program. That is when the seller gives you some money to pay your closing costs. They usually can give you 3% to 6%. With 3%, you can reduce your interest rate 2 points in the first year and 1 point in the second year. So 3% of the $100,000 house will be $3,000 that the seller is giving you, trying to incentivize you to buy the house. That's the option that the seller. Or the option that we have on the right side is the home buyer buying or the borrower buying points to reduce the interest rate. To buy a point is 1% of the loan amount. And usually you can buy 2 or 3 or 4 points depending your ATR. And this will reduce your interest rate permanently until you can refi. Most of my clients, like I will say 95% of my clients, at least buy 1 or 2 points. Why? Because the type of clients that I work with, they're looking at the loan picture. They are trying to keep the house. And usually I have a calculator that I show them is that if they pay to reduce the interest rate, they will get their money back in 3 or 4 years. And most of the people keep the houses this long.
Santi, that's all the time I've got. It's really good to talk to you. Let's do this again and enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate you coming on the show. We'll be back, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fitch. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
Welcome back, everybody. I promised you guys earlier that we were going to talk about the finance side of real estate. The market's crazy right now with interest rates and everything else. So I want to introduce again to you guys Ann Tran. She has got a unique perspective on the market because she is a real estate agent and a loan originator, okay? So she handles both sides of the real estate transaction. And so I want to kind of welcome to the show, Ann.
Thank you, Andrew. And congratulations on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I wanted to, kind of dive right in. A lot of feedback we've had over the last couple shows has been, interest rates are really expensive. It's, we're having a hard time, finding a house price that makes sense to, to fit in the budget. And, as an investor that finances a lot of my properties, we've had to think outside of the box, interest-only loans, that kind of thing. So talk us through if you're trying to let's tackle it from two different sides. So from a personal side, buying a home that you want to move into first, and then let's talk about the investor side. So from the personal side, are there products that are available in this market? Like what should homeowners think about as they're trying to buy homes?
Well, I think the first thing people need to realize is you need to shop. You need to get competitive rate, or you need to get rates from several or maybe at least 3 lenders. Every lender is going to have their own different terms and rates and requirements for you to be approved. But for the most part, yeah, you definitely have to get started with your credit score, your income, your assets. That's fundamental, foundational. But from there, you need to shop around. Talk to a realtor to connect you with a loan officer to help you get started with the process. Once you've learned the process, start looking around for other brokers, your bank, credit unions. Just anybody you feel comfortable and that's explained to you well. That's the first stop. Find your team, realtor, your loan officer.
Before you find a house.
Yeah, no, definitely. You can't even, there's no point in looking at a home. If you love something and you don't have your finances ready to go, you're going to lose on that house. And it's going to take you about 2 weeks to really get a good underwritten pre-approval. That assesses all your finances to make sure that you can close when we get to the table, basically.
Once somebody gets a pre-approval, is an interest rate locked in at that point? So if it's 7.5, they know that that's what the interest rate's going to be for a how long period of time?
No, actually, it's not locked. It's floating. Once you get a pre-approval, it's good for 120 days from the day we pulled your credit report, and so it's floating. And it's just saying that your credit was good enough for this kind of credit score. Now, it may fluctuate. It's going to fluctuate by the time you find a home and close, and everyone signs on the dotted line to move forward with the purchase. And so that's when you want to lock in. 30 days is the only when you want to lock in that rate. So. That's kind of how that works. So you're going to maybe have the time. You have at least 15 days. I've been told you can wait till 15 days before you're closing to lock in that rate. So you do have that option too.
Are you recommending people lock in as early as they can though? Because interest rates seem to be continually rising.
Yeah, actually. I listen to podcasts all the time, and I was hearing that they're expecting interest rates to go up to 8% by the end of the year. I mean,
that's tough.
They're trying to control inflation. People's got a lot of money, you know, and that makes sense. So, what I see is a hill, and eventually they're saying at the end of next year, they may see 5 to 6% rates. So the question lies: do you want to be on this side of the hill or on the other side of the hill? When everybody's been waiting, and they're like, oh, okay, now they're down again from 8%. Let me just jump in.
So you're on that side. You think that there's pent-up demand that people are going to go buy houses as soon as
once they realize, like, okay, the rates have gone down. So, like, let's jump in. I've saved enough money. I've been preparing for this moment.
Right.
I was ready for 7%. I'm ready for it now, right? Before I wasn't. So if you're ready for it now, jump on it while you can. Don't wait till like the end of the year or next year because everybody else is doing the same thing.
Has underwriting changed from a personal perspective? Somebody buying a home. Again, we're not talking about investors yet, but has the underwriting criteria changed? Are you seeing that for certain loan products, do banks want a better applicant, higher credit score, more money down?
Well, I think fundamentally we want to approve you for a loan. They want you to get into a home. Now we just need to prepare you for that, and that means getting your credit score. So fundamentally, you want a credit score. Now, before 620, 580 was the lowest. Now they're willing to accept 500s as long as you're willing to put more of a down payment, right? Your interest rate might be a little higher. Like they're just things that balance out, like a DJ, mixer. We need to balance out. So you got your credit score, your income. You got to show that you can handle this because we don't want you to go in foreclosure in 2 years. So there's that. Ever since the 2008 fallout, so everyone's making sure that everyone's covered and they're not going to be underwater in a couple of years.
I had a lender or a loan officer on the investment side of the house. I'm trying to refinance a property right now. And they showed me a spreadsheet that based on, even from the investment side, credit score, there were a bunch of different factors that affected the interest rate and can move it up or down. Is that the same thing on the personal side? Like your credit score up or down?
As if your credit score, the better credit score you have, the better income, the better low debts you have, the lower debt to income DTI ratio you have, you're going to have better terms, better rates, better higher loan amounts. But if lower interest, lower credit score, low income, high DTIs, it's going to be challenging, and you're going to probably fork out more money in the front end.
One of the questions that I ask lenders on the commercial side is what is your floor rate? Is that a fair question to ask? What's the absolute bottom rate that you can offer, and how can I get there?
Oh man, to get into the way lenders or how they buy their rates in order to sell it to consumers, that's another class. But how you can control your rate and how you can either reduce it, you can try doing lender buy down. So lenders may buy down your credit for 1 year, or you can do a seller credit or seller buy down, 3-2-1 or 2-1, which means they'll reduce your interest rate. They'll purchase prepaid interest for the third year, 3% less for the third year, and then 2% less the second year, 1% less. So there's a 3-2-1 buy down. And what else was I thinking about? There's lender credit, and then there's seller buy down. What was the other one I was thinking about?
Seller buyer. As a buyer, can you buy the interest rate down?
Oh yeah, your discount points. Thank you so much.
Discount points. There you go.
So there's discount points, which you can buy it down. And that's another calculation in itself too that we'd have to go through, individually. But you can buy down your rate. Now, whether that's a good idea to buy down your rate depends on whether you plan on refinancing in a couple of years or not. If you don't want to bother doing that, then and you plan on living in your home for the next 5 or 8 to 10 years, then it might be a good idea to buy down your rate.
From an investment perspective, so that's, we talked a lot about personal for a second. So from an investment perspective, real estate investors trying to either buy a house, refinance, cash out refi is what a lot of people do. They go in and buy it, renovate it with cash or hard money, and then pull all their money out. What sort of loan products, are available for investors to do that? I mean, interest only? I mean, are you seeing a lot of people take advantage of that?
Not really, to be honest with you. I think investors are oftentimes going to the commercial route. They're doing the hard money lending. One thing I recently learned about was assumable mortgages that I thought was very interesting. Now, most conventional loans are not assumable, but government loans are. So if you find a property that has an FHA loan or a VA loan, you can assume that. But you've also got to meet specific requirements too for that.
Can an investor assume a residential mortgage?
I'm curious. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you got to have it as a primary resident in order to do that. So figure that out. Maybe you got clients out there. But yeah, that's another way to be creative about finding a property you get into.
Rewinding a little bit, why is the interest rate so high? Because a lot of people that aren't in, kind of the banking world and the accounting world and real estate are just looking at it and saying, I mean, I've tried to save the money for the last couple of years to buy a house, got this big down payment, but now I can't afford the payment. Why is it so high?
Oh man, there's so many factors. And when I think about this, the sociology factor, the psychology factor, but the economical factor is just that there's a supply and demand issue. So you just got a lot of people with a lot of money who are able to put money down. And when it was 3-4% percent interest rates, people were just buying homes. Like, it was a more structured situation than 2008 when it was just like stated loan issues.
Right.
Now we're just had low interest rate. People had money, like a lot of money actually, especially during the COVID pandemic time. And so they've taken that money to buy a home, but government has to put a stop to that. Everything else is going up. Cost of food was going up. Cost of
inflation is just high.
Just everything was high. So one of the ways they're trying to control it is interest rate for housing. Plus, cost of homes are going high. That's not going to go down for a while either. They're not thinking that home prices are going to go down. I think I read like 2030 or 2024. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
So on the real estate side of the house, you do that too. Are you seeing, is housing slowing down from a sales perspective?
Yeah, that too. The market's tight out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of, people are just, the buyers are on the sidelines. They're waiting for interest rates to go down. They've been, been priced out into buying, and now they're going back into the rental market. And so the realtors are having a lot of fun with renters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
And rents are just going to also increase over time too. So you got to get ready for next year.
So a home buyer that wants to buy a home, has to buy a home. We've got 60 seconds. What's your advice for somebody that's trying to get out there and look and needs a mortgage?
Get a pre-approval letter. Get that started right away. Early. Yeah, start now. Talk to somebody you trust that can educate you on this aspect, because you need to get started, get that ball rolling now. Especially if we're expecting rates to go down next year. Let's start planting that seed now so we can get you prepared for next year. But if you're able to do it now, get in now. Get in now, because you don't want to have to deal with bidding wars or high pricing, or like we had to deal with during the pandemic, like no inspections, no appraisal, and people are now regretting that today. Yep. So you don't want to put yourself in that position.
So start early, stay organized, get several opinions on interest rate.
At
least three. Yeah. And it's good to talk to you. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. We'll be back, everybody.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure, and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fitch. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I've got Scott Mackey back on the line. And if you guys remember from last week, Scott and I talked about he moved from a W-2 job in the lending world and became a full-time real estate investor, multifamily syndicator. We didn't have enough time last week, Scott. A 12-minute segment just goes by way too fast when we start talking about this stuff. So thank you for coming back. How's it going today?
Going well. Good to be back.
Good, man. So I want to dive right back into, last week we talked about, your experience kind of jumping out of the W-2 world, finding your very first deal that you syndicated, and you had a successful exit on that. There are a lot of our members of our audience that reached out to us after that last show, and they were like, we want to hear more about that. They had a lot of questions. So I'm going to just kind of spitball a few questions that we heard that people wanted to, find out more about this experience that you had. So what were some of the surprises that you had, coming into this process, things that you didn't expect that took you by surprise as you moved out of the W-2 world and started, full-time real estate investing?
Yeah, it's so at my previous job, it was very much a white collar operating environment. Everyone college educated. The first property that I managed, it was entirely different. You're basically the CEO of your own business, and a lot of the folks that I dealt with, a lot of trades. It's not the same demographic. Sometimes, I know this is surprising. Sometimes workers don't show up. And again, this was also in the middle of COVID, so 2020 was a bit of an anomaly year. But we had a significant amount of renovations on the project, and there were just times when crews wouldn't show up, and there were delays. Whereas in the corporate world, it just feels like there's a lot more efficiency, and things work on very tight deadlines, and people are highly compensated to ensure that processes go smoothly. I think on apartment syndications and the professional side of it is one thing, but when you're actually day to day doing the renovations and the operations, it's not exactly as smooth. And I think one of the challenges is, how do you get through a lot of these delays or when things aren't working the way you expect? And there's no one right answer, but I think it more speaks to mindset. You really got to just be intentional about, all right, here's the problem. I don't know how I'm going to solve it, but I know I'm going to solve it. And you just gotta tackle things head on, day to day, because it's your business. And remember, as a syndicator, you're managing money for other people. So they've entrusted you with their retirement funds, their kids' college funds, and what have you. And that's a responsibility you got to take seriously every day. So whenever a problem arises, you've got to fix it. Whether that's a delay on a unit turn, or a contractor not showing up, or arranging other help on the property. Like you've got to work through those challenges.
What are some of the, in terms of challenges, in the single family world where I live, when the things that could, blow my budget up, you mentioned one of them, timeline. Another thing that's a budget buster is, anything water related. What are some other budget busters? If somebody is like doing underwriting on a deal, what are those big items that will blow the budget out of the water?
Yeah, it's typically the big CapEx items, right? It's HVAC, electrical, plumbing, as you'd mentioned. And remember, on plumbing, there's two sides. There's supply and drainage. So on our 32-plex, we had a huge sewer line issue that we had to remediate. And then there's other just physical aspects of the property, like the roofs. You want to make sure that during your feasibility period, you are catching, all the big ticket items. First thing you do is you put cameras down the sewer lines to make sure there's no bellies or holes. Any stoppages, things like that. So a lot of that stuff you can find during diligence. One thing I would say from an underwriting perspective is you've got to make sure, especially with the older value add properties, you've got to make sure to have a fair bit of contingency in there. And that is just, a 5, 10, 15, 20% additional reserve capital set aside for, unexpected, unforeseen issues.
As you guys are doing diligence on these products or projects, and you're running cameras through sewer pipes, which we do in the single family world also. Are you hiring an inspector to do that? Is there a commercial inspector that will go through that building for you? How much does something like that cost?
Yeah, so you typically don't hire inspectors for the commercial properties, the multifamilies. You essentially manage different professional contractors for each stream. So I will hire a commercial plumber to come out and camera the lines, to spot check a lot of the valves and supply lines in the unit. I'll typically also get a general contractor to evaluate the scope of all the deferred maintenance fixing, such as like the roofs, office remodels, balconies and railings, retaining walls, things like that. So we don't get specific inspectors per se, but much of the general work, we usually get one or two GCs out there to help us evaluate the scope. But then we also have our own electricians and plumbers that look at the different streams of potential work or problems that we might have to remediate.
So in your business model, Scott, when you bought this 32-unit complex, obviously you bought it, did the work, and then you flipped it, you sold it. Was that the plan all along, or was there ever a scenario where you buy and hold? Like we do a lot of buy and hold. Is that just not what your business model was to begin with?
Well, so good question. I think we were just following a playbook that had already been established by other more experienced colleagues and mentors, and that is, get in there, do the work, raise the rents, raise the value, refi in 3 years, and then sell in year 5. So that was kind of the playbook we were, following. But there was also an element of, I didn't know what to expect. This was my first time doing it.
Yeah.
But, and this goes back to, you just got to trust the process, lean in, learn as much as you can from your mentors. And then, you also need to understand where you are in the cycle. And again, we even though we were working and renovating through COVID, we were able to raise rents to a certain level where we were already hitting our 3-year projections by mid-year 2. So we had a lot of unsolicited offers. So I think we were going to originally just stick to the plan, refi it in year 3, sell it in year 5, but we had, so many offers, mid-year 2, who am I to say the market's wrong? So we just said, okay, fine. Let's sell it and try to find a property closer to Houston.
So you're looking for your next deal. What does a good deal look like with the interest rate environment being what it is? 7-8%. I mean, it's gotten pretty challenging to make deals pencil. You had a pencil in your hand a few minutes ago, and what pencils now? What do you look for on new deals? Yeah, well, so we had so much fun with our last project. We understand that, value add opportunities are called that for a reason. Typically there's a problem. There's usually a lot of deferred maintenance. And you can go in there, and if you're willing to get your hands dirty, you can make a lot of profit, from a property or opportunity being mismanaged, underperforming, capital that needs to be spent that is either inaccessible or the owner's unwilling to spend it. So we like the value add opportunities. In today's market, with interest rates being what they are, I think banks are generally on the sidelines. They're lending money at 8 to 9+%. So that's really not a viable financing alternative. Agency lenders are still in market, but loan to value is a lot less than what it was 2-3 years ago. So agency lenders will give you anywhere from 50 to 60, maybe 65% loan to value, depending on what the occupancy level looks like. But typically for these older value add projects that we're looking at, there's stress or signs of emerging stress, which means occupancy is low. There's open permits. The property's losing money. Maybe it was purchased a couple years ago with a variable rate loan, and interest rates have reset. The rate caps have expired. So, the operator's interest costs might have tripled. And so the property's bleeding money now. And we're seeing more and more of these deals come across in the current environment. We think there's going to be more in 2024. So
these are the kinds of ones we're looking at right now. And we're also looking to scale in the 100 to 150 unit range, because this is the beauty of real estate. You know, the same processes for renovations you look at on the smaller properties, it's the same processes you use for the larger properties, just it's a different cadence. And you just, you know, it's project management at the end of the day. But still, I think the core underwriting tenets of underwrite carefully, you know, you need to take risk, but you've also got to reserve contingency funds in case things, you know, move sideways on you. And, you know, don't push the leverage, you know, all the way to the edge. I think that's gotten a lot of people, a lot of syndicators in trouble that have done that in the last few years, and they're paying for it now. So we're seeing those opportunities come up from operators that, you know, borrowed too much money, paid too much, and didn't manage their CapEx accordingly.
Yep. Man, our 12 minutes is up. My producer just looked at me and told me to cut it out. I just don't know how the time goes so fast, because there's so much more I want to talk about. That was my last question. Is there stress in the market, and do you guys plan to take advantage of that? It sounds like you do. You think that's going to be an opportunity in 2024.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. I mean, we just made an all-cash offer on a deal yesterday.
Nice.
You know, that most of the deals we're seeing now make sense only through loan assumptions or all equity offers. We expect that's going to continue. We don't see the debt markets really, you know, getting normalized for another couple of years. So, and we know there's a lot of equity money on the sidelines ready to jump back in. But there's deals now, and there's more coming.
Scott, let's we got to cut it off there, man. Let's do this again. Thank you so much for joining me on the show again, and we'll chat soon. I'll be back from a break very soon, everybody.
Thanks, Andrew.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure, and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hey, are you a small business owner that's struggling to double or triple your revenue and profits? My name is Michael Rager. I'm your business guide with Teach Your Business to Fitch. Our success operating system will help you double or triple your profits every 2 to 3 years while actually maintaining some semblance of a home life. Call us at 713-201-5559 and we'll help you become a real success.
Hi everyone, I'm Clara Capano, and I am so excited to announce that my new TV show, Be Productive, is airing now on Now Media. You can catch it online as well as in several local stations in your immediate market. So go to nowmedia.com and catch all the strategies, all the tips you need from industry leaders on Be Productive.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
I'm Andrew Glisson. This is Real Estate Insights. Thank you guys for joining us on another show. Every week, our goal is to help broaden your horizons and help you gain a deeper appreciation in the world of real estate. We know how hard it is to navigate